Now we see the concept of random process. So before that, we briefly review the concept of random variable, and we simply extend the same concept to the random process. So if you consider, this is a sample space S of a random experiment, and S1, S2, Sn are the sample points. So mapping of sample points onto the real axis. Can be represented like this. There is a function x maps the sample point S1 onto a value x1. Similarly, the function x maps the sample point Sn onto a real number xn. Follow? So this is the mapping of the sample points onto the real axis. So here the function that maps sample points onto the real axis is called as a random variable, and we denote the random variable by x. Okay? Otherwise, you can also write x of si. X of si is the random variable. For simplicity of the notation, we simply eliminate this si and we write x. That itself indicates the function x maps the sample points S1, S2, Sn onto the real axis. Here x1, x2, so on, xn are the values that are taken by the random variable x. Now we consider the sample space S again, sample points S1, S2 and Sn. So here also we are performing the mapping operation, but corresponding to the sample point S1 there is a function called as S1 of t. Here corresponding to the sample point S1 we have a value x1. Corresponding to the sample point Sn we have a value xn. But here the sample point mapped onto a function called as S1 of t. Here it is mapped onto a value x1, x2, so on, xn. But here the mapping is from sample point to a function. So normally we are considering this particular function as a function of time. That is, it is the independent variable and this is the dependent variable. So we are calling this S1 of t as a function of time. So here this function may be like this, some arbitrary function. Similarly, corresponding to S2 we have another function that is also the function of time. We are calling it as S2 of t, and is also another arbitrary function, and so on for the outcome Sn. We have another function Sn of. So corresponding to the sample point S1 we have a sample function S1 of t. Corresponding to the sample outcome S2 we have S2 of t function. Corresponding to Sn outcome we have Sn. Here we have n outcomes of this particular random experiment. Corresponding to each outcome we have a function. See, if you perform the random experiment, at a time we get only one outcome. The outcome may be either S1, S2 or Sn. So therefore, for a corresponding outcome we have a function. Here corresponding to the outcome we have a number. For example, if the outcome is S1, x1 may be some 2. The outcome is S2, x2 may be some fault. Okay. Corresponding to the outcome of the random experiment, there is a value. Here, corresponding to the outcome of the random experiment, there is a mathematical function, which is a function of time. So here, if the outcome is S1, the function is S1 of t. If the outcome is Sn, the function is Sn of. So here, the collection of all these functions is called as the ensemble. Collection of these functions is called as an ensemble. See, this is the collection of sample points. Collection of sample points is called as a sample space. The collection of sample functions, here S1 of t, S2 of t and so on, Sn of t are called as sample functions. So what are these? S1, S2, Sn are the sample points. As these are the functions of time, we are calling this as sample functions. Set of sample points is called as a sample space. Set of sample functions is called as a ensemble space, or simply ensemble. So now we consider a simple example of performing a random experiment. That is measuring the temperature. So we are measuring the temperature of a particular blood. Measure the temperature for all values of time. Plot a graph between this temperature and time. How it will look like? Maybe some arbitrary shape, because the temperature may be negative also. So call this as S0. Let we are measuring the temperature of this room on day 1 at all values of time. That is, for all possible values of time, we are measuring the temperature and plotting a graph between the temperature and time. So this is the measurement that we perform. And on day 2, again measure the temperature of the same room and plot a graph between the temperature and time. That may be like this. Call this as S2. So this is the day 2 measurement. Are you following? Keep a thermometer here, measure the temperature continuously for all values of time on all days, on all weekdays. Similarly, on nth day, you have the measurement and the corresponding temperature function is denoted by Sn of t, and that may be like this. That is, we are starting at a particular time and we are measuring the temperature of the room for all values of time on day 1, day 2 and so on, day n. Okay. So here, this is the collection of some functions. So each function can be considered as a sample function. S1 of t is a sample function, S2 of t is a sample function, Sn of t is a sample function. So here we can consider this is an ensemble of a particular random experiment. Here the random experiment that we perform is measurement of temperature of the room. The temperature is randomly varying with respect to time. Therefore, the measurement of the temperature is an example of performing a random experiment. That's why we are calling it as a random experiment. And if you let S1 is one outcome of that random experiment. What is S1? S1 is the day 1 measurement. On the first day we measure, let that is the output. Or if you measure the temperature, what is the output? Output of that measurement, output of the measurement is the temperature values. Follow? So here the set of all these sample functions or these temperature functions can be called as an ensemble space. Follow? To extract the information, that is how the temperature of this particular room is varying. On an average, what is the temperature of this room? And at 10 a.m. on every day, what is the temperature? Is it constant? Is it varying? And what is the change day to day? Similarly, at two different times, at 11 a.m. and at 4 p.m., what is the temperature of the same room? So if you measure on all the days, see, this is trial 1, this is trial 2, and this is trial n. That is, we perform some n number of trials. Then from the outcome of this particular experiment, we will get some information. So just by observing these waveforms, we will get some idea. Take for example, at this time, that is, let this is some T. At this time, this is the temperature value, this is, and this is almost same, but not equal. Is it? And here it is raised, but here it is dropped. Again here it is raised, and then immediately dropped. That is, by going through these waveforms, we will get some idea. But exact information cannot be obtained. That is, what is the average temperature? On an average, what is the temperature? That we can. That is, we need to do something further. So for that, we observe these temperature waveforms on all days. We measured for all days, we got all the results. Now you observe all these waveforms on all the days at a particular time instant t1. On the first day, what is the temperature value? This. On the second day, this is the value. This is the value at nth day. So all these values are different. See, we know this value and this value. Can you predict this value? On the day 1 at 10 a.m. we measured the temperature. Temperature is 10 degrees centigrade. On day 2 at the same time 10 a.m. we measured it. It is it 10 or 12, 20, 30? It might be any value, because the temperature of a particular place or room varies random, because we are not maintaining. See, if you are using a heater or something or cooler and maintaining constant temperature, whatever may be the time that you measure, it will be constant. For example, if you set up an air conditioner and if you set the temperature to 20 degrees centigrade, so normally it will be maintained at 20 degrees centigrade. But here we are not controlling the temperature, so we are measuring the temperature. Definitely the temperature values vary randomly from day to day. On the same time, we observe the temperature at time t1 on all the days. So definitely these values are not same. Can I say that x is a random variable that takes a value, this value, when the outcome is s1. The outcome is s2, random variable takes this value. When the outcome is sn, the random variable takes this value. Follow? So therefore, this random variable is taking the values. You may consider this as x1, this as x2, this may be xn. x1 is the temperature on the first day at t equivalent to t1. x2 is the temperature on the second day at t equivalent to t1. xn is the temperature on the nth day at t equivalent to t1. The time is same, but the day is changing. Therefore, can I represent this as x of ti, comma t1? That is, I am letting the random variable x is taking the temperature values x1, x2, xn on all the days. Di indicates all the days. I equivalent to 1, 2, so on n. But what is the time? Time is kept constant. Follow? So why we are calling this as the random variable here? The values, they are varying randomly. We cannot predict. Even though you know the knowledge of the previous values, okay, we cannot predict them. Follow? So here, this can also be represented as x of t1. That is, we are avoiding this d8. Why? Because we are measuring on all the days, all the n days. So this indicates x of t1 is a random variable obtained by measuring the temperatures at t equivalent to t1 on all the days, t1, t2 and so on. Okay. Now, you observe all these waveforms at some other time instant t2. Then we can define a random variable in such a way that this is taking the temperature values on all the days at t equivalent to t. So you may consider this as one value, this is another value, this is another value. See, this value is different from this. Okay. You may call this as some y1, y2 and so on. y1, y2 and so on, yn are the values that are assigned by the x on all the days at t equivalent to t. Are you following or not? Is it clear? We measured the temperature, that is, we performed the random experiment, and we have the collection of the sample functions. We are observing these sample functions at t1 and t2 on all the days. So here at t1 on all the days, these are the temperature values. We are letting the random variable x is taking these temperature values at t equivalent to t1, and another random variable x is taking the temperature values at t equivalent to t2 on all the days. So here the second random variable can be simply denoted as x of t2. For example, if this t is lying in between minus infinity and plus infinity, that is, we measured the temperature of this room for all values of time, that is, t is taking all possible values. Then how many time intervals that you can observe the waveforms? Infinite. So therefore t1, t2, tk and so on. And so on. You can get another random variable x of tk. What is x of tk again? It is taking the temperature values at t equivalent to tk on all the days. So here we obtain some k number of random variables. Is it x of t1, x of t2 and so on, x of tk, where t1, t2 and tk are the observation times or observation intervals. Understood? Now if you consider this random variable, the values that are taken by this random variable are x1, x2 and so on, xn, and the values that are taken by this can be considered as some y1, y2 and so on, yn. Similarly here some values. So we define the random variables here for a particular random experiment. Now, what is the difference between the random variable that we already studied and this random variable? See, here we are calling this as the random variable. And here also we are calling this as the random variable. What is the difference between that random variable and this random variable? It is also taking values x1, x2, so on. The random variable x of t1 is taking the temperature values at t1. X of t2 is taking the temperature values again. What are the temperature values? They are the real values. Is it? Again, it is taking the real values. It is also taking real values. It is also taking real values. What is the difference between the random variable that we studied so far and this? Here, this is depending on the time, because see, the time is varying, the values that are taken by the random variable. See, here x, random variable is x, here also it is x, here also it is x. In all the cases, the random variable is x. Okay? But the values that are taken by this random variable not only depending on the sample points, it is also depending on the time. At t1,
at particular time.
so first we observe, and this is the random variable. Next we observe, this is the random variable. What is the difference here? See, here it is temperature, here also it is temperature. See, this temperature and this temperature, both measured on the same day. They corresponds to the sample point S1. Follow? You take one sample point. S1 is the sample point. So corresponding to the sample point, we have a function S1 of t. You observe this function at T1. It is taking, the value is x1. Temperature value is x1. Here the temperature value is y1. But the sample point is same. Our outcome is same. Corresponding to a single outcome, we have two different values at two different times. Is it? But in this case, corresponding to S1, we have only one value, x1. Is it? Corresponding to the outcome S1, we have only one value, x1. Corresponding to S2, we have a value, xn. But in this case, corresponding to the sample point S1, we have x1, y1. x1 is at T1, y1 is at T2. Understood? So therefore, the value that taken by the random variable is depending on the time. So here we can say that this random variable x of t is a function of time. When t equivalent to t1, this x of t1, the values that are taken by the random variable are x1, x2 and xn. If t equivalent to t2, these are the values. When t equivalent to tk, some values. So this particular function, what is this x here? X is a random variable, but it is a function of time. The random variable is a function of time. Then it is called as a random process. Understood? The random variable is a function of time, then it is called as a random process. So in the case of random process, we have the sample functions. So normally the random process is denoted by x of t. Random process is also called as stochastic process. Stochastic. Strictly speaking, there is some difference between the stochastic process and random process. Okay, but here we consider both are same. So we denote the random process by the capital X of. So the random variable is represented by capital X. Random variable is denoted by capital X. The random process, as the random process is a function of time, we are denoting it as the X of. So here we can consider the set of sample functions as the ensemble. This is the ensemble, and this ensemble corresponds to the random process X of. So therefore, the random process consists of the sample functions S1 of t, S2 of t, so on, Sn of. And there is one broad classification of the random process based on whether the sample functions are deterministic or non-deterministic. If the sample functions are deterministic, then the random process is said to be deterministic random process. If the sample functions are non-deterministic, then the random process is said to be non-deterministic random process. Well, that is one broad classification of the random process into two different type of random process. One is the deterministic random process and the non-deterministic random process. Here the sample functions may be deterministic, may be non-deterministic. So based on the randomness of the sample functions, we can classify the random process into deterministic random process and non-deterministic random. Let X of t1, X of t2, and so on X of tk or the random variables that are obtained by observing the random process X of t at t1, t2, and so on, t. Follow? X of t1, X of t2, and X of tk are the random variables that are obtained by observing the random process X of t at t1, t2, and so on, tk. Then the event X of t1 less than or equivalent to some x1. Here I am assuming the values that are taken by the random variable are x1. X of t2 is less than or equivalent to x2. Here x2 is values that are taken by the random variable x of t. We have x of tk less than or equivalent to x. So here we are defining an event in such a way that the random variable x of t1 is taking values less than or equivalent to x1. This is taking values less than or equivalent to x2. This is taking values less than or equivalent to x2. Okay. Then the probability of this event gives the joint distribution function of the random process x of t. The joint distribution function of the random process x of t, or the joint CDF of x of t1, x of t2, and so on, x of tk, is denoted by x of t1, x of t2, and so on, x of x1, x2, to write it clearly. Understood? The joint CDF of the random variables x of t1, x of t2 and so on, x of tk is equivalent to probability of x less than or equivalent to t1, x of t1 less than or equal to x1, x of t2 less than or equal to x2 and so on. So what is this event? This event is the event that we define is the joint event. Is it? Is it? This event is the joint event. The probability of that event is the joint series. And there is a shorthand notation for it. We simply denote it as x of t of x is equivalent to probability of so this is the shorthand notation for this. Instead of writing all these, we denote like this, where this x of t is, what is x of t? So x of t1, x of t2, that is this x of t can be considered as a matrix, column matrix, x of t. And what about this x? x1, x2, so on. We are letting x of t1, x of t2 and so on, x of tk are the random variables. x1, x2, so on, xk are the values that are taken by the random. So therefore, we are denoting the joint CDF in the shorthand form as fx of t of x is equivalent to probability of x of t less than or equivalent to x. The joint probability density function can be written as fx of t1, x of t2 and so on, x of tk of x1, x2, so on, xk is equivalent to rho x1, rho x2, rho x. Is it right? So in shorthand notation, we can simply write it as fx of t of x is equivalent to, this is a joint probability density. So we can characterize the random process by the joint CDF and the joint PDF. If you know the joint CDF, we can find the joint PDF. Otherwise, if the joint PDF is given, we can find the joint CDF. So once you know these, can we find the marginal PDF? If you know the joint CDF, we can find the marginal PDF. That is the PDF of x of t1, PDF of x of t2, PDF of x of t2. Similarly, the corresponding CDFs. That is the distributions of the individual random variables x of t1, x of t2 and so on, x of tk can also be obtained. So therefore, the random process is nothing but a random variable which is a function of time. Why we are considering time? That is, the t is a universal variable. Most of the physical phenomena are depending on the time, and there are many physical phenomena that are random in nature. So therefore, the random process can be broadly defined as a function of time. The random variable as a function of time. Random process is a random variable that is a function of